Greetings, everybody, and welcome. And I want to start first off by saying thank you. Thank you very much. We have to start there because it's been overwhelming, the response that we've had to the RRR review that we did last Thursday. And because of that, I'm definitely going to be engaging in even more content coming from India, including these amazing films. And I have to say, thanks so much for your incredible recommendations, because those have been a significant influence on the films that I'm going to be taking a look at and reviewing here on the channel. So again, thank you for that. Most importantly, though, I have to say thank you to my friend Chris Gore over at Film Threat, because he was the one that led me into this incredible film treasure trove that is from India. So I'm very thankful for that as well. Based on so many of your recommendations, of course, I'll be using all of the Thursdays, as I mentioned before, going forward, or many of the Thursdays, most of the Thursdays going forward, to review all the wonderful different films that are coming out of Indian cinema. And again, thank you for that. We have a dearth of quality content in the United States right now, so this is, wow, this is really a joyful find, and I do appreciate that. Of course, today's review takes me back to the incredible films from the 1980s and the 1990s that Hollywood was putting together that were action-based, so the action hero films. So let me do my best to introduce you to KGF. This is an epic crime story. It is filled with just incredible actors, a very familiar lead in Yash, and it's about 2.5 hours, 2 hours, 35 minutes long. And by the time you finish it, you'll be wanting more. And you don't have to worry about that. There is more to come. Here we go. So, KGF Chapter 1, mind you, there's more than one chapter, falls into the Indian language Kannada, I believe is how it's pronounced, part of the film industry. This particular film, KGF, became the highest grossing film, Kannada film of that time. In fact, I think it still sits up there quite a bit, although it may have been replaced by KGF 2, well, there's a surprise coming at the end of this video. Many of you probably already know it, but when you're watching this film, you have to expect some non-linear storytelling. There are going to be times when you jump to a flashback that's relevant for the story that's being told, which is a fairly common element in a lot of these films that I've seen from India so far. Now, you're going to be introduced to this protagonist in a lot of different ways, and you will be really appreciating how the character of Rocky comes together. It's set around a very unique idea that's based on our modern understanding of El Dorado, the city of gold, only different. See, Rocky turns out to be this larger-than-life action hero, somebody that the backstory that you're often pulled into the past to find out really comes into his own, so you understand how this person became that one and why. Of course, when you catch up with him within the first 30 minutes in his adult life, it is through an incredible scene that I'm going to go on to describe here in just a moment. But Prasanth Nell is the writer and director of this particular film, and he focuses pretty much on the Kannada film industry, but he tells a wonderful story that blends together this vision of fantastic action, a grounded drama. There are moments in here that you can't turn away from for a multitude of reasons, whether it's tear-jerking moments, or whether it's completely grounded everyday business conversation, perhaps, that happens in the real world now or back then, because this is set again a little bit in the past. Looks like primarily the 80s, although the tale starts all the way back, I believe, in 1955. and you have just the pure magnetism of the lead in Yash, and the sheer enchantment of the young lady Srinidhi Shetty, and the very intimidating presence of the initial bad guy, which is Ramachandra Raju. Now, they play, like I said, an amazing cast of characters, but there are many, many more. Hopefully, I will become more and more familiar with the pronunciation of these names, because they deserve that, because they're that good. But this whole film, as I mentioned, is set against an incredible score that will remind you of incredible epic films from the 80s and 90s. I mean, at times, you don't know if you're watching, and I know I've used this reference before, but Indiana Jones, or perhaps even Star Wars, right? The score is epic. It dramatically leads you into places, and some of the songs in this, the soundtrack's available to watch on YouTube, or listen to, I should say, on YouTube, and that's also worth your time. The music is spot on. That's probably the best way to describe it. From atmospheric to melodic, it just carries the day, and it conveys that sense of feeling that we used to get during certain scenes in films. Now, the story is actually told from the perspective of the author that's writing a book about this character, Rocky, and it's dedicated to telling the story of the Kolar Goldfields, or KGF. Now, the book that this author had written had been obviously published, but immediately was confiscated and then burned by the government. There are reasons for that. You find out much later why. But as the news media, there's a journalist that's employed here that's essentially interviewing this author. Some amazing elements of this story unfold. In fact, the entire story unfolds in that way, through a narrative voice, which is kind of cool to begin with. But Rocky's born to a strong young mother, right? That basically instills all of her thoughts and everything, and even her strength. She kind of imbues Rocky with that, and some of her teachings are very specifically driven towards Rocky being able to take care of himself in a very challenging set of world circumstances. Now, he's essentially age 10 when we meet up with him, so I would have guessed that'd be 1965. And essentially, because of unfortunate circumstances around him, he's set loose in the city of Bombay, I believe. And he essentially is driven to make his way up the ladder in that city. Now, much like RRR, you're going to be hooked in just a matter of moments. In fact, if you aren't already hooked in this film after 30 minutes, I would be surprised. You will not be disengaged from this at any point in time. You will have to, obviously, if you're an American audience, or North American audience, or even around the globe, and you're watching this film, you will have to employ subtitles unless you're, conversant in the languages that are being utilized here. Again, you're going to be hooked right away. Rocky is going to do the things that he does best, which you will immediately understand is essentially trouncing the bad guys with style. And boy, does Rocky have a unique style when he does that. It's beautiful to watch. Rocky's journey can basically only be described by the words that the 10-year-old version of himself say towards the beginning of the film. In fact, when he's brought to the local dawn of the crime syndicate that he's trying to, get into. And he says specifically, Dumea, which I believe, if I pronounce that correctly, is the world, or at least that's how it's translated in the subtitles anyway, which is amazing, because that theme will carry on throughout the entire film, and you'll find out why when you watch it. I'm going to go out of my way not to present any spoilers here, so please don't fear that. There will be obviously some storytelling elements, but I am not in any way spoiling this story for you, and there's no way I would, even when we get to chapter 2, but I will go on. Along the way, again is chapter 1 of this story, Rocky encounters an incredibly beautiful woman, right? He looks like he's probably in his mid-20s, maybe somewhere between mid-20s, mid-30s at that point. And Yash, again, does a great job of conveying the passage of time with this character, although it's really, really subtle. So Rocky encounters this beautiful woman and presents himself in a very Rocky style, right? And immediately declares his love by saying, "Congratulations, I love you," which was fascinating. Of course, then he plays his way through the series of events that are designed maybe not by Rocky, but by the storyteller to frustrate the young lady along the way. Again, I don't want to spoil any of that for you, but you're gonna find Rocky through his journey to getting to the destination that he's ultimately going to be at, kind of making his way in a very well-crafted way and very thoughtful way, kind of like he's playing 3D or four-dimensional chess with his adversaries in order to get closer and closer to a target that he's been assigned, the job that he was brought to do so that he could, rise up in this criminal syndicate. And essentially, he's thwarted more than once. It's fascinating. He eventually finds his way into the minds of KGF. And I'm not going to say anything, won't spoil any of that. But in fact, rather than spoil the balance of the film, I'll simply say that the beauty of the film itself is not just in the epic storytelling. You can obviously tell by the joy on my face that this has all of the elements that you could possibly want. But it's not just the joy of the storytelling. It's not just the expansive set pieces or obviously location shoots or any of those things. It's not the landscapes, which are gorgeous, by the way, and it's not even the cast themselves, although they are experts at what they are doing on the screen. It's essentially the combination of all of those elements that actually make this film complete. It's a fully delivered vision, which again we lack in a lot of North American cinema right now, and that can be very, very disappointing. At the end of this film, you're going to be wanting more. I think I alluded to that at the beginning during the introduction, and since you're probably going to be wanting more of this film after you get to a certain point, well, I'm going to tell you that you will get Chapter 2. And that's just around the corner as far as my review goes, because I've already watched it, and I will be reviewing that next Thursday. But here's something amazing. Chapter 3 was just announced 3 days ago. Wow. Did not see that coming based on the end of Chapter 2, but I'm not going to spoil it. Not going to spoil it. There's a very interesting and satisfying ending in Chapter 2. Heck, there's a very interesting and satisfying ending here in Chapter 1. Again, you are going to be driven by a cliffhanger to waiting for the second film. But as I mentioned, this did become the highest grossing Kannada language film at the time. On roughly a $12 million budget, it earned $37 million by the end of its theatrical run. And it obviously had become more than just a cult hit, which I think it's described as kind of in its wiki description, right? I can't tell you how excited I am to actually share my review of obviously KGF Chapter 2. Like I said, that'll be next Thursday. But I've also chosen a movie snack to go on along with that one, and I'll probably do a little short video prior to releasing the review next week of the snack that I picked, and I will eat on camera so you can see my reaction to it. But I need more suggestions for those, and we'll get to that in a minute. Well, actually, let's do it now. If you have any movie snack suggestions, things that you would like me to try, specifically from India, and I'm willing to try, pretty much any of the common movie snacks that you would have, leave those suggestions down in the comment section down below, obviously, and hopefully we can engage there. I try to get to everything. I don't know if you guys have noticed that, but I do try to react to everything, whether it be with a thumbs up or a comment in response or a simple thank you, because again, I thank you. Wouldn't be here without you. But anyway, overall, I'm gonna give you the rating of the film, or my reviewer's perspective. This is a 4.5 stars out of 5 for me, and it was easy to get there. In fact, it's real hard to get a 5 out of me. 5 is a perfect film, although I can't find a lot of flaws in this filmmaking. I don't know that there's a lot more that could be added to it. Maybe tightening up some things here or there, but obviously I love the film. I look forward to more of them, more films like this, I should say, in the future. And obviously Chapter 2, and I'm looking forward to Chapter 3. Gosh, I don't even know how to go on. I have an ever-growing list, I should say, of films now, courtesy of all of you, because you've been throwing out all these titles and all these filmmakers and a real education, thank you for that, on the different elements of this film sector, because I didn't know it was divided up the way it is based on the language and the region that all these films come from. And that's fascinating to me, because that kind of thing doesn't really happen here in the US. You kind of have like the mainstream, and then you have like the independent. So it's wonderful, unique, and I love learning the culture. So thank you for that as well. But if you can, just leave additional suggestions in the comments, because that's how I'm building my list, right? You know, because I'm gonna watch Bula Maldi, I think is how that's described, and some other films that you all have recommended. So thank you for that. But that's the only way I'm going to learn, is if you give me the comments and, you know, the other films you'd like me to review or that I should be watching, because let me tell you, I do appreciate it. Also, if you're here for the first time, or if you're here for the second time, third time, fourth time, but you have not yet subscribed, please consider doing so. Just hit that little red subscribe button at the bottom and hit that bell for notification icons, so that we can we can share more together, because that'll give you the notifications whenever I go live or I have another video that's come out here on this platform or any of the other places that you happen to be watching right now, because I'm pretty much everywhere, or as many places as I can be without being in other countries. So I do hope you check out my friend Lorena Creole. Her channel and actually a link to her watch party for RRR is actually in the description below, and you can watch her reaction while she watches it in real time, and I think that will be very enjoyable. I can't wait to watch her react to the incredible film RRR. But getting back to KGF, I just can't say enough good things about it, so do check that out. And I've actually recommended it to Lorena also, so we'll see what she does with that in the near future. I've also left a few other links down below to some other creators that have done some RRR reviews and are looking to, you know, expand their horizons as well, because like me, they were amazed at the quality of that film, and they will be equally amazed with KGF. And once again, I have to say a special shout out to my buddy Chris Gore over at Film Threat, which is a channel you should be subscribed to as well, who essentially put me on this cinematic journey. And again, thanks to all of you once more for giving me more suggestions, because I've been nothing but delighted. And with that, of course, I got to wrap up the video the same way I always do. Be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, wash your hands, of course, because it's good hygiene. And until next time, bye.
Thanks for visiting today. Be sure you're subscribed and hit that for alerts.
Yay!
Of course, like and share all of the videos that you can, as it helps with the algorithm. Have a great day.